Yep.
So does this mean more waiting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos.
Me too.
Actually, I'll do a practice update.
I'm sure you being capped will really not affect this at all if you watch some YouTube videos.
Oh, I don't know if they're gonna load. Alright, Brick defeats Wispu to get into the round of 4. TK Shadow, gonna be playing him. Maybe we'll be able to jump into that. Dirty Derek facing off against Kmart Rules. Both semis matches actually happening now. Oh, actually we got a game.
Really?
Yeah, Dirty versus Kmart. Right, Kmart advanced, so there's another game.
Well, which race Dirty plays? He's a Terran by the looks of it.
He's a Terran by the looks of him.
So which race is Kmart? He's Terran, right? So this could be TBT.
Yeah. I think he's Terran. Gay.
Well, it's still better than TVP.
TVT takes ages. No, I hate TVT. Unless it's bio. I just hate mech TVT.
I think TVT actually ends faster now that BCs can actually be used.
Maybe.
From what I've seen, that's the case, because if one player just goes like mass tank and the other one like goes for BCs instead, the BC player can definitely win, but you can go either way, but it can end a lot faster.
What if Deadbo lags?
Why is he joining?
Because he wants to spec.
After lagging all that time. Right,
Yeah.
that really makes a lot of sense. Is the player in a RTS game a real-time strategy game? That's not a very good strategy. Not a very good way of thinking. Yeah. Still waiting for this to start.
Yep.
It will be on Typhon Peaks. I kind of like this map, do you?
No, I don't think it promotes long-term play at all. Just with that low ground third, it's pretty much impossible to hold. Especially because it's got the destructible rocks as well. So you're forced to overextend a little bit, and then so it's basically like 2 base all in most of the time.
I kind of decided that the really thin corridors would really hurt Zerg play, but just the fact that I can expand a fair bit, or well, I can kind of expand more than my opponents in a lot of situations. That kind of gives you something else that you can
Go in first, because you got Deadbo another game that didn't happen. We already looked at your profile, man. What more do you want? Okay, in the top left, we've got Kmart Rules. This is the red Terran playing against Dirty, the yellow Terran on the bottom right-hand side. So we got cross positions TVT. Ugh. But luckily, because of this map, it might end a little bit more quickly than we would see in other maps like Shakur's or like even Metal.
Yeah, there are a lot of thin corridors on. Well, they're not extremely thin, but they're fairly thin on Typhon Peaks. And of course, if there's a lot of tanks out, then yeah, it's quite hard to find surrounds if there's all these thin corridors going down. But it will be interesting to see if these players try to move tanks into other tanks, or if they try to just use different styles of positioning with their tanks. Because I'm assuming it will go to tank play with both players, because it is TVT. Although there are some cheeses that can happen in TVT, like 5 racks. There's you can just rush up to Starport and just do Marine Prime style instead, but that hasn't been shown to be the most effective style. Although Slayer's MMA did beat I'm MVP recently in the GSTL with that. So there are a lot of viable builds in this. It's not just Tank Marine, Viking all the time.
Yeah, and
just wait and see what these guys go.
just with the layout of the bases with these high ground, the side blocking grass, Reapers could be a possibility. Actually, just because the map is so large, I wouldn't mind breaking out old school and someone going for an Iacoic build, just because, you know, the Hellions are really fast. Even if they get a block up at the ramp.
That's yet another build that they can go for. There's so many different builds. Even if it doesn't look like there's a lot of builds you can go for in TVT at first glance, there's actually quite a bit of variation you can get. Much more variation than, say, PvP.
Yeah. And there's a lot of space at this natural expansion for the Hellions to abuse. And with the mass air, of course, Iacoic build being, you get 2 Marines, then you go 2 factory, 2 port, you get the blue flame for the Hellions. And then you change up your air composition depending on what you see, but looks like that, yeah, Kmart's going to be putting down a factory and building a third marine, so perhaps not. Perhaps he's just going to be going for more traditional tank Viking play. At the same time, we can see Dirty hiding his factory behind the side blocking marines, just wants to get vision of there. And yeah, more marines on the way. More marines on the way. But keep in mind that Kmart does have his second gas, so he could be going for fast Banshees. That could be a possibility. Of course, it's going to take a little bit of a while to see. And both players just really content to stop scouting. Dirty actually throwing up a bunker at the top of the base and getting his own second gas. Actually cancelling that bunker right now and replacing it nearer to his buildings.
That's pretty odd positioning of the bunker. I'm not quite sure why he's putting it there.
Yeah, but normally if you get the bunker, you do get the Banshees. It's for if you're taking up and your opponent just goes by it. Or like, yeah.
But the barracks is out of the
just
open.
helps.
Even if they're just going by, they can just kind of kite around and kill the barracks off. There's a few buildings there.
Yeah. Well, like you would put it at the top of the ramp, but in this position, like I don't know, it's a bit wider than usual, I think.
I still don't think that bunker's really going to be that effective. You can just go either side of the bunker and kill a lot of stuff, no matter what your composition is.
Looks like both players are going to be Banshee rushing. Both Tech Labs finishing and both Starport's going to be finishing. But Kmart Rules' Banshee will be out a little bit before, what's his heads? Dirty's. And Dirty actually going to be forcing out a Hellion. I don't like this choice. The Starport is going to be finished and not ready to swap on to Tech Lab. Actually, Dirty not going to be going for Banshees at all. He's going to be getting the 250mm strike cannon. And he's going to get a Thor out. So, did he scan and see anything? Yeah, he's scanning now. He sees the Starport with the Tech Lab.
He screwed up his tech there. He's cancelled the strike cannons. And
yeah.
Back to the pre-igniter.
I was thinking Thors would be a really slow option, and getting the Hellions and the Medevacs. Came out rules with the scouting Hellion now out. And as it gets denied by the bunker, he does throw down the scan just to confirm what he sees. But I'm not sure if he does see past these sight-blocking reads. Let's take a look at his vision at the moment. No, he doesn't see. He just sees a Tech Lab right there. Keep in mind the first Banshee's on the way. He's got a nice row of 7 Marines blocking any scouting. The Hellion does return alive and well. And following that up with a Raven from Kmart's side of things. Dirty going to be going for a Dirty Hellion drop with the blue flame. And a Viking to back it up just to scout and clear the way through the skies for it. Dirty putting up his engineering bay as well. But the Banshees are already on the way. There's one and a Hellion going to be following it up. And yeah, engineering bay has finished. Going to be seeing if any turrets get put down. Keep in mind that bunker was salvaged. And Dirty does actually have a Viking already out. So he could just completely shut down this Banshee harass right now coming from the north-hand side. Looks like he's going to go to work on the mineral line. And just as that turret gets placed, he needs to take out this SCV that's building the turret. No, Kmart not paying attention to his Banshee right there. And he's actually trapped it in the corner. This could be really bad. The Marines coming from the north-hand side and the Viking coming from the northwest. And the Viking just gets taken down.
Really look that great. I'm kind of curious of why he's placing it down not in the middle of this mineral line. Because if the Banshee did survive, he could have just cut it around to the other side of the mineral lines. But of course, with the Banshee dead, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
I just had like a tiniest moment. I said Viking. Instead of Viking, lol. And at the same time, Dirty going to be dropping 3 of his Hellions, which are really effective against Marines. The Marines actually massing up here. A tank even in the backhand side, so the Marines aren't going to be able to block. And the tank do massive damage if he micros this perfectly. But actually, one Hellion going down really fast. And ooh, Blue Flame picking up 1 SCV, actually going for those meals and not doing nearly enough damage as he needed to do. If we look at the work account.
It didn't look nearly cost effective enough.
Yeah.
Even if he might have gone ahead and work account, still, he lost too much army value there. Yeah, and Dirty actually is ahead in work account, so he needs to expand sooner rather than later. He's actually used his call down supply depot once as well, so he used like a mule or a scan behind, though he is banking up quite a lot of energy. Just shows that he may not have been on top of his macro
as he could have been. Kmart now going to be getting his first infantry upgrade, as is, what's his head? Dirty. Man, I can't remember people's names. Dirty also getting the siege mode for the siege tanks, so he should be able to defend any incoming push, and it looks like that Kmart's going to be doing a 2-tank, 1 Viking, which will ally that site, and the Raven push with the point defense drone could be quite potent. At the same time, he's going to be putting down his natural expansion, not even building it in his main. He's just going to put it at the natural where it should be, and a nice contain could be set up right now. But at the same time, Dirty with the superior Viking count, going to be able to push out as well. He's only got, yeah, he does have 2 tanks actually, picking off that first medevac, I believe, or Viking.
I believe it was the Viking, yeah.
Yeah. And right now, Dirty with the superior Viking count, if he's careful, could win this engagement, or at least the standoff. And point defense drone has been deployed. A couple of stray marines getting caught in no man's land in the center. And I would really like to see Dirty follow this up with another Hellion drop, maybe, just to make those tanks unsieged. But it looks like Kmart might be thinking of retreating. He's currently unsieged both tanks instead of one at a time. And he's pushing in right now. And now only going to be sieging up, losing a lot of marines to these siege tanks. And really a poor move from Dirty. From Kmart rules, excuse me, and it looks like all of Kmart's tanks do get cleaned up by the already positioned Dirty tanks.
Pretty horrible engagement there for Kmart rules. There was a what am I saying? Point defense drone up just out of the range, but oh wow, the Vikings are trying to shoot at that, but of course they can't with the point defense drone still up. Finally, the Marines move up to it, but yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised how far Kmart rules was moving beyond that point defense drone. Although that didn't look like, well, yeah, he was kind of running into his tanks as well, so being a bit overeager there, possibly.
Yeah, and Kmart rules now forced to defend his expansion. Keep in mind that Dirty has got his second command center ready to go. It is landed. It's going to be transforming into orbital anytime now. But it looks like that Dirty might be just trying to set up his own contain and force Kmart to defend quite a while. He does have 2 tanks, keep in mind. Enough energy for a point defense drone will be in a little while. He's only got 70 energy.
Actually, I'm kind of shocked at the moment. Dirty's transferred almost all of his workers to his natural, instead of kind of keeping even saturation for both bases. There's still quite a few minerals at his main which he hasn't mined yet, and he's only got 3 SCVs mining there. That's a lot of income which he's kind of throwing away at the moment.
Maybe he's trying to make it look like he's more ahead.
What's that?
Maybe he's trying to make it look like he's more ahead than he really is. But Dirty going to be dropping here behind the low ground rocks. Little bit of a strange move right here. He could move up into the high ground, siege very fast, or just siege on the low ground. There we go. Pick up those marines, put them on the high ground, and let them do a bit of damage.
Marines of a tech lab. Oh, it's a reactor, I mean. There are some Vikings
trying to defend
this.
And they will shut down the path of retreat. So, free units.
Shut down here. They actually can't get out of that area now.
Yeah, free units for Kmart. But nice little try for Dirty, but it didn't do nearly as much damage as it should have. Instead, he's just giving them all away. He is not going to be able to take out this tank. At the same time, making the tanks move out of position. Dirty coming in here with the rest of his army, losing all of his marines almost instantly to the siege tanks, and more Kmart marines
coming in and really
coming in from the north.
Just obliterating those tanks from Dirty. So yeah, that was actually quite a poor push. A really poor drop, followed by a very poor push, and this leaves one of Dirty's marines with 1 HP, sitting in a really bad position, can't escape. That has to be like the worst situation you can be in for that one marine, although it does have 2 kills on it.
Yeah, and if you guys saw the chat, I'm not sure if my resolution's good enough right now. I'm pretty certain that it is not, but the general consensus in the game from all the spectators is, what the fuck? At the same time, Kmart going to be expanding once again to this more centrally, the low ground third, excuse me, which is really hard to defend. There's rocks right here with another entrance, and tanks can just siege up on the high ground right here, and if you were going by, you can't really get to it. But it looks like Kmart's going to be transitioning into more barracks play, getting up concussive shells, going to be putting down a reactor starport as well, get up those medevacs, and the Vikings try and establish some sort of air dominance. Dirty,
really
missed rally.
Is the fact that Kmart hasn't really taken advantage of the fact that he killed off all of those tanks. Oh,
Dirty, missed rally.
Tanks is rallied.
Stim. Oh, don't need to stim all of them, buddy. Oh, yeah. Almost one-shotted. And Dirty just
has any medevacs out to heal those. Heal all those marines which he just stimmed up either. So that's a bit odd.
Yeah, it looks like Dirty did transfer back to the main, but really, it's just been Dirty's game to throw away at this point. He's been making so many just vital mistakes that he's swung the favor back into Kmart's court. And really, you know, early
It's a
game.
bit odd, which I was going to say before. It's just that Kmart killed